Okay, so now that we got our pagination done on the SDK, our second step is to create the navigation table. So essentially, when you select our connector, you should be able to see both the boys table and the girls table, or however much tables you want to see essentially. So to do this, go into the documentation, and what you want to do is, in this Power Query documentation, you want to go on to walkthroughs, trip-in walkthroughs, and navigation table. Once you're here, first thing you want to do is get the helper function. So where it says creating a navigation table, you'll use the handy table to navigation table function to format your static table into something that Power Query will recognize. So you want to click here, and it's going to give you this code snippet here. You want to go to your PQ file. I usually like to keep all my helper functions in the bottom. So I'm just going to put a comment here, helper functions go here. And then I can say this is helper function for navigation tables. The reason why I'm doing this is this function table.to navigation table. This is, as of me making this video, it's not part of the native um, SDK. So you have to bring in this function if you want to call this function at any point in your document. If you don't bring in this function and you call this function in the top part of your document, the SDK won't know what table.to navigate table means. Anyways, now we want to create our navigation table. So to do that, this is an example that's used in the documentation. Take that code and you want to paste it right after our let function. We're going to say this is our navigation table function, or however way you want to document your code. So the first table is going to be called boys table. Second table is going to be called girls table. And I'm going to be creating two functions. One function is going to be called get boys table. And if you execute this function, and you're going to pass URL. So if you execute this function, it's going to give you the boys table. Similarly, if you execute get girls table, it's going to execute this function to generate the girls table. All right. So now we need to build these two functions. So we already generated the boys table on this code, on this let code here. So I'm just going to copy this piece of code, put it right under my nav table. So this is my get boys table function. I'm going to call this get boys table. And I'm going to add boys here, and I'll show you in a bit why I'm doing that. Similarly, I'm going to do this same thing, but I'm going to create a get girls table command, or function, sorry. Get girls table. So now that I got these two functions defined, my navigation table knows what the boys table is and what the girls table is. Now this main let function over here, I need to point this let function towards this trip in nav table that we just brought in. So how do we do that? So you have to do let result equals trip in nav table, and you're passing in URL in result. So let's see what's going on here exactly. Did I misspell that? No. Oh, I just need to put in a semicolon so it knows that it's ending here. All right, so let's build this. Sorry, before I build that, if you've noticed, I added a /boys and a /girls. The reason why I want to do that is because I'm going to come back here and I'm going to use the base URL. So essentially what this connector is going to do is you define the base URL, and for the boys table, it's going to take the base URL, it's going to do /boys/page 012. Similarly, take the base URL /girl/page equals to 012. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to build this. Build is successful, set credential, connector test, anonymous, evaluate current file. So it got me boys table and girls table. So let's bring over this mess file onto our custom connector directory and see whether it actually works in practice. Delete this. New source. Connector test. Continue. Sorry. Continue. And I'm just going to mention my base URL here. Connect. So I got my boys table here, which is giving me the 15 boys, and the girls table here, which is giving me the 15 girls. And I can bring this both in. There we go. So that's how we do navigation table. So next step is we're going to start with authentication problems and see where we can go from there. So stay tuned.